dreaming today.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to How Musicians Make It. My name is Adam. I'm your host, and today I'm talking with Teghan Devon. Teghan is a singer-songwriter who won the Mid-Atlantic Songwriting Contest for her song Our Garden, which we'll get into a little bit, and you actually get to hear pieces of it on this show. And she was a student at McNally Smith College of Music, where I was teaching. She was in one of my classes, one of my theory classes maybe, so I wasn't working with her as a songwriter, but I knew that she was doing cool things, and I've sort of been following her career since. She just spent a whole bunch of time doing like a sort of like songwriting workshop school in Europe, and she talks about that experience, which I think is really interesting because it's a lot to do with like how to collaborate as a songwriter, what collaboration looks like, where good ideas come from, and things like that. So we get into the nitty-gritty of songwriting, which is something that I like to do as well. And actually, Teghan and I have been talking about maybe working together a little bit, and I hope that does happen sometime in the future. Before we run the interview, just want to tell you what I've got going on with me. I'm going to be in Minneapolis playing at the Ames Center in Burnsville with the great Steve Cole on Friday. This coming Friday after this episode drops, so Friday the 18th of August. That same weekend, I'm recording a bunch of short horn things with some Prince alum players like St. Paul Peterson on bass and Kirk Johnson on drums. They're all written by my buddy Scott Agster, who played trombone in Nookie Jones. So we were like the horn section of Nookie Jones together for a long time. And he plays in like the Jack Brass Band, a lot of bands that I've played in over the years. Scott was also in those bands. So Scott came up with this idea to write a bunch of short horn band kind of things using rhythm section players from that older school era, which I think is really cool, really great idea. It was sparked because I was doing this 17 singles in 17 weeks thing with Lulu's Playground, and we saw some pretty cool numbers happen over the course of that 17 weeks, which have since died down pretty significantly, which I think is a lesson in and of itself. But Scott was like, I'm going to give this a try. And so we're doing it together. I'm playing lead trumpet. I've been shedding like crazy. We're recording that this weekend as well. So that's what's going on with me. Real quick, the podcast is brought to you by Gig Boss, which is an app that is an organizational tool for freelance musicians and band leaders. Organize your schedules, organize your finances, do it all in one place. Go download the app. It's totally free. Here's my conversation with Teghan Devon. So where are you right now?
I'm in North Carolina. I'm on an island called Bald Head Island. I'm with my family. I've been in Europe for like on and off for the past 9 months, but from Maryland, my family usually comes here for the summer, and currently I'm living with them from July to like early fall for the past 4 years. This will be my 5th year. I volunteer here as a sea turtle nest monitor. So
wow, cool. Yeah. So it must be around, you're surrounded by water. It's an island.
I think it's technically a peninsula, so they're lying. But
okay, yeah. I've lived on a couple peninsulas myself. Right now we live in the Keweenaw Peninsula, and that's fun. That's fun life, surrounded by water. We're surrounded by Great Lakes, but North Carolina, is that big water or?
It's big water.
Yeah.
Atlantic Ocean stuff.
Nice.
Cape Fear River. Yeah, I love it. It's my favorite place on earth. I'm currently in like a screened-in porch, so you can hear a few birds and stuff in the background. I'm sorry if you hear. Yesterday I was trying to like film a short Instagram video, which didn't happen because apparently the squirrels here are really loud, but it's fine.
So you had to bag the Instagram video because of the loud squirrels?
Yeah, also I'm learning to, I'm still timid when it comes to taking videos and putting them online, even though I have to, even if it's like a little, Instagram or TikTok. I love TikTok as a consumer, but I don't love being on camera.
Yeah.
So trying to get through that, I should have just gotten through it, but blame it on squirrels.
It's like I talk to a lot of people on this podcast, and we talk about whether or not social media is necessary today. And a lot of people say, yeah, of course it is. But I also know a lot of musicians who are full-time players who don't use social media at all. I imagine that that's probably the case for a lot of songwriters, too, who like you're saying, like don't like to be on camera, but are great songwriters and want other people to play their songs. Is that how you see yourself? You've released albums yourself, and and you're like winning awards and stuff. So how do you view yourself as an artist? Are you trying to become a, singer-songwriter performer in the public eye? Or are you really hoping other people will play your songs, or a mix of both?
Both.
Yeah.
Both, for sure. I definitely want to continue releasing music. I need to perform more. COVID kind of stopped that a little bit, and I also deal with a jaw problem. Do you know what TMJ is?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so I deal with that, and I haven't performed as much, but I want to get back into it. Definitely want to release more music, but I would also love to write for others as well. It's kind of a dream. Like, how cool would it be if, like, a big artist released one of my songs, or writing with other people for their projects? I have a lot of fun doing that. I did that a lot this year, and it's just, I don't know, I really enjoy the process of kind of interviewing people when you're helping write the song about what they're going through, and it's like a therapy session, and it's, nice, and I get to kind of try to pull the best out of the people that I'm working with and myself.
Right.
In the comfortable situation. So I love doing that too. So yeah, everything.
Cool. Do you find that where you are now is an inspiring place to write music? You said it's one of your favorite places in the world.
Yeah, I do. Here it's actually nice because I do other things outside of music. And I think life also inspires you, because for the past 9 months, I know I said I've been in Europe, I was in this intensive contemporary music program, and I was mostly a session writer in the room. Sometimes I did do some of my own stuff, and actually 2 songs I did there I'm planning on releasing for myself. But
cool.
I have written so much, and I was super burned out at the end, and a lot of my friends are feeling the exact same way who went through it. But at the end, I had this attitude adjustment, because I don't know, I think we were all taking it very seriously, and I felt like I was doing a lot of music that sounded the same, and I don't know, I couldn't ingest more music, like listen to music, and I always think listening makes you a better writer.
Yep. So you get out of that rut of feeling like you're writing something that sounds the same over and over again. Exactly.
And also we were in a very small town, so I didn't get to see much live music either, and I also think that kind of rejuvenates you. I kind of had an attitude adjustment at the end where I was like taking this too seriously. Like, this all started out as fun, and the artists that I was writing with, I was kind of like, I think we're all taking this a little too seriously, and at the end of the day, I'm writing to make something that the artist likes. So that's what we should think about, and make sure everyone's comfortable in the room more than anything else.
Well, I imagine too, like, songwriting is probably better when everybody in the room is having a little bit of fun too, and like the vibe is a little bit looser. People feel comfortable to give ideas. That's a huge part of writing with someone, right? Is like that openness.
Yep.
So tell me more about this program. What is the program in particular? Were you there as a student?
Yeah, so I guess it's technically a school. It's called Lillehammer Institute of Music Production and Industries. So we were in Lillehammer, Norway.
Wow.
And I kind of treated it as a graduate program, but like everyone has different levels. It's kind of a weird situation. I had graduated from Berkeley, and I realized that I graduated with a professional music degree with a concentration in songwriting. And, I was like songwriting major at McNally and all this stuff. And that's what I love. And I've done, my own music, but I hadn't been in this like studio session environment where I'm writing with other people or for other people, like pop and things like that, which I love. I love pop music. Right now, it's been hard to like ingest pop music recently, but I'm getting back to it.
Why is it hard? What's hard about it?
Just so much of it. Writing it, listening to it. I felt like I got a little bit sick of it, but now I'm getting back to it, especially because a lot of the pop music I listen to is like, for instance, Sabrina Carpenter. She has a song called Skinny Dipping, and in the song she sings in the verses, and you can remember the melody, and it's so cool that she does both of those things, and it works.
Yep.
So it's pop music that has something different. I've been listening to a lot of that and like nerding out over that, and it's been really fun thinking about that for my own music. So I'm having fun with it again, but it just got a little monotonous, and just I think it had to do with burnout in general. Of just writing a lot of music. But in the program, we had songwriters, artists, producers, and I was one of the songwriters. We were supposed to have like an equal number of all three, but we had way more artists than songwriters because you got to choose your concentration in the second semester.
Everybody wants to be a star, baby.
Yeah, that's true. And I just I came there to write.
Yeah.
I already knew that's what I was going to do before I got there. I did do one of the showcases. I wrote a Christmas song, which is weirdly one of the ones that everyone loved while I was there.
There you go. That's your $1 million right there.
That would be great. I thought it was pretty funny considering I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
And I definitely have never taken a crack.
Well, I'm pretty sure White Christmas was written by somebody who's Jewish. I think a lot of really famous Christmas songs were written by Jewish writers, which is really interesting to me.
Yeah. No, it was... Yeah, I wrote a lot that I didn't expect to write. Things like that.
Yeah.
I actually wrote that when I had COVID by myself. We had like this mini competition. I was like at home and I wanted to participate. I was like, oh no. So I wrote something.
Did it have to be like a holiday themed song? Was that the idea?
Yeah. So I spent it as a songwriter, and I did kind of miss performing. By the end, I was like, you know what, I really want to go back to working on my own music a lot. I missed that.
Yep.
But there were certain people that I wrote a lot with. Like I found my lane and certain people because I had a really fun. I was in the room and helped write. I think we did a rock song, pop. I helped with a dance hall song once. Actually, I am not fluent in Swedish, but I helped write a Swedish pop song because I helped with the top lines. And then also like I said, with the interviewing kind of with the artist, I spent a really long time with the artist kind of asking her questions about what we were writing about, the angle, and the order of what we were going to say, and just getting everything together. And that was cool. I'm really proud of that, actually.
Yeah. So I know some people who've written music that was really meant more for other countries, and there was a blend of English, and in this instance, it was like French and English were both in the song, and it became like a song that was on a smart car commercial in France.
Cool.
Was there a mix of Swedish and English in a song that you were writing, or was it like an all Swedish pop song?
It was all Swedish. Yeah. It was all Swedish. That artist, she's great. I have no idea if she's going to do anything with the song. That's the thing. We wrote a lot of music, and we'll see if people are going to release it. But she wants to be partially a Swedish pop star. And she's great, super talented, and she wanted to write in Swedish. And our producer is Norwegian, and he can understand that. You can understand both if you're Swedish or Norwegian, and I am not fluent in either.
Yeah. I
was like, how the hell am I going to participate? But I'm not going to just pout there in the corner. I'm going to do what I can help with.
Yeah.
So I helped, and I actually had a really good time. It's just like having a good attitude. I always say you should be like a tourist in music. It's good to be a local and everything, but I love traveling. I love seeing new things, and that's how I think about music as well. Be respectful, listen and learn,
Right. Yeah, that's cool. I want to talk about your song, Our Garden.
Love is just like a tree.
Which won the Mid-Atlantic Song Contest Grand Prize, right? I remember I read somewhere that you found this song on your voice memos or something like that, and it was kind of an afterthought to record it. Can you talk about the process of finding that song, recording it, winning the competition, and what that's done for you so far?
I wrote that song probably when I was a freshman in college, for one of my friends who was just feeling down about love. Like they were never going to find someone, and they were going to settle, and I like doing that. I like writing songs inspired by the people in my life. On my album, I have 2 songs actually inspired by the same friend, which is a completely different friend. And I don't know, she really loved Our Garden. It was named something different. I don't even know what that was, but I just wrote it for her. So it was more specific to her.
Sure.
And I've grown as a writer, so I can now step outside the art a little bit and look as a writer. You know the saying, kill your darlings?
I feel like I've heard a similar, I can't remember what the word is, but a really similar phrase, yeah.
Yeah, like, basically take away your attachment.
Yeah.
So you can step out of it. I actually don't believe in, I kind of hate that phrase. I've also heard kill your babies, which is like a disturbing.
I was thinking that, and I don't know why it's like so disturbing, but I get, like, you know, you're using baby obviously as a metaphor, so it's...
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I like to say raise them, don't kill them. Like, pick your favorites, but like raise them, because that's a harsh way to look at things, because it is art at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But
and raising them could mean a number of things, and it's probably a good thing to be thinking about it as a songwriter. Is like, how do you, I don't know what that could mean. How do you get it in front of people? How do you get it maybe reviewed by somebody that could get more ears on it? That would be essentially raising a baby, right? Get your little song baby and get it out there.
Exactly. It's more about growth in any process when it comes to writing the song, releasing the song, promoting. Exactly. I think that's a more positive light to think of the kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
But I found it after years and years. I have so many voice memos on my phone of old things, of snippets of things. I have notes on my notes app of songs since I was like a teen, not like 19, like 15.
Yeah.
That are horrifying to look at. You're so dramatic when you're a kid. Yeah, I was just listening and I found it and I was like, this is kind of a really beautiful message. And I like this song, and I was kind of like, I might need this for me also. Sometimes you get into that point in your life where you listen to something and go, hey, I think that this song wasn't just for the person that I wrote it for.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know, if I'm going to have to release this is going to take some editing because it's too specific. You know, specific enough that it's relatable, but also universal enough that it's relatable.
Right.
The balancing act.
Yeah, that's one of the tricks as a songwriter, right? Making it feel like anybody that hears it could maybe identify with it, or at least a group of people could identify with it. Exactly.
Yeah. And that can be very, very difficult with your babies.
Yeah.
With your darling.
Yeah. So you edited it, you changed lyrics. The song, to me, it just like feels nostalgic to me. Like there's something about the way, like the guitar part on it, the progression. There's something about the progression that immediately makes you feel like you've heard it before, you know? Which I think is one of those characteristics that's really special when you hear that in a song. Was that a part of your thought process of writing that song? How the guitar part goes, how the music of it flows?
Kind of. In the bridge, there's like an instrumental part there, the guitar part. I wrote that and I play it on there. And that was kind of I remember doing that specifically on purpose because I'm not, like, if you see me live, I'm more of a, like, I guess, thoughtfulness about progressions and, like, little harmony things that I call spices, basically, more than, like, doing a little solo here and there, but I wanted to do that. So that was intentional, and I don't normally do that. I'm capable, but it's just my brain goes to a different place. I don't know exactly if the rest was intentional. It's not in standard tuning. So I think it was me screwing around with, it's D, A, D, F sharp, B, D. So
you get some kind of like interesting different things that come out of that when you write with a non-standard tuning.
Yeah, it's like some weird form of like B minor 7 or whatever function it's in. I'm not thinking about it too hard.
Sure.
I actually don't really know what I was playing, which is not usual because I actually do. Some people say that theory puts you in a box. I agree and disagree because I've always liked to try out different things. But now, after years of theory training, which I've definitely forgotten some of it, but I think it's nice to know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And have some options. And I have this thing called synesthesia. I don't know if you know that I have that. Do you know what that is?
I don't know that you have that. I do. That's sound colors and sounds. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool.
So that sometimes makes me a little bit more intentional with what I do, or like my first album, fingers crossed, when I listen to, or the art has all the colors that I see when I listen to the songs. And Our Garden, the main background color, green, that's what I see, like that specific green. And that art, by the way, I just have to shout her out, was done by my friend Queen Sleepyhead, but that's her art name. She also makes music and she's fantastic. I actually think that you would like her stuff. Her artist name is Shiley. My producer on Our Garden, Chris DuPont, is wonderful and lovely and a friend of mine, and I love working with him.
Cool. Yeah, I got a couple things here. So first of all, White Christmas was written by Irving Berlin. There you go. Okay. So that is, I had to look that up because I knew it was a Jewish composer, but I couldn't remember who. But nostalgia is powerful. That's a powerful thing in music. And I read some study was done that like people stop trying to discover new music after the age of 25. It's like they just, once you hit 25, the vast majority of people just listen to things that they listened to from the time that they were like in their teens to the time that they're 25. And now that I'm 38, it's like that's totally not how I am. Mm-hmm. But also sometimes I'm like, yeah, let's toss on this Dashboard Confessional record. And
I love them.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dashboard. I've spent a lot of time writing songs myself, but it's taken me a long time to get to the place where I feel like okay about doing that. It's a fun aspect of my life. And so yeah, think about that nostalgic power in songwriting, you know, just in terms of tonality, in terms of the general tonality of a song, certainly subject matter, but yeah, just like the instrumental tonality of a song and how that can bring someone right back to where they were as a kid, whether or not it's the thing that they heard when they were a kid, you know. It's like music has that great power. I used to play in this band that would play at old folks' homes, and it was like old style swing music. And the director once was like, see if you can remember where you were when you heard this song. And we played like In the Mood or something, and like everybody's crying. It's like all these old people crying because they're just remembering being kids and hearing this song in the 40s. And that was my first time when I was like, damn, music is really powerful. You know,
yeah.
Such a cool thing. So you win the Mid-Atlantic songwriting contest with Our Garden. What came along with that? Was there some kind of award that came along with that, like working with a producer or something like that?
I won some money, which was nice.
Oh, hey, there you go.
And also a little bit because before I won grand prize, that won gold in the folk acoustic category.
Like a previous year, or
no, that's same. So basically you win an award and then they pick from all like the gold winners who wins the whole thing. And I was pretty shocked. I did not expect it. I've won awards with them in the past. That was the first golds that I had won before the grand prize, and that was really exciting. So I know I love MASC. I know of them through Songwriters Association of Washington, D.C.
Yep.
And yeah, it's great. It was crazy because freshman year of college, I entered a few songs and I got honorable mention for, I don't even remember. And they have like awards galas. And I went to at least one of them later on when I did win more of an actual award.
Yep. But that must have felt like external gratification or some kind of confirmation that you were doing what you were supposed to be doing, even getting an honorable mention as a freshman in college.
I was just stoked. I didn't expect a thing, but
yeah.
I get to this, awards gala and I'm watching people perform that have won. I'm watching the winners perform and I'm like, oh my God, these people are so cool. Like I could never.
Yeah.
Years later, it feels good to have confirmation of growth. That feels really nice, and respect. as well. I've gotten, as you know, and as everyone will tell you from people who are actually in the industry to people who know nothing, you will get a lot of rejection.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
In this world, and it is what it is, and I try not to take anything for granted. So it was it was amazing. I'm really proud of it.
So how do you handle rejection? Well, like you get a rejection letter from a songwriting contest. How do you handle it?
Don't take it personal.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take it personally. Like I've gotten to the point where I'm confident in my abilities. Sometimes you're just not a good fit. Like
Sure.
For the program, or most of my accolades that you see are acoustic, folky based, or like singer-songwritery. And as an artist, that's my lane. Although I'd love to be in a band that does something completely different, because I love Willow Smith, for instance. I don't think I could ever sing like her. She's amazing. But I love that kind of music. That's what people see. So if I'm applying for the pop camp, none of the, this year I did a lot of pop, but I also did a lot of like emotional, sad singer-songwriter things too. That's actually the kind of person that I was that people came to me for at school. So it's maybe I need to show a little bit more in that field or whatever I want to do. It just happens. You're not going to get picked for everything.
Right.
I love writing. I taught at Interlochen Arts Camp for the last 2 summers. Like I feel like I know the craft well enough. I wanted the writing camp. Didn't happen. It'll happen next time, or like a different
or something else will happen. Yeah.
Different thing. I'm glad that I applied, because that's all you can do. Like it's much better to try.
Right. Keep pushing forward. So you've had some songs placed in TV shows. So how did that stuff come about, and are you actively seeking out sync licensing opportunities now?
So my song Maybe Then I've had on this show, Ghosted, Love Gone Missing, which is an MTV show.
Oh, nice.
And to be honest, I don't know if it still exists. It was on there 2020, 2021.
Yep.
And I got it through Taxi Music. Do you know what that is?
Is it publishing house, I assume? Taxi Music?
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of it, but I don't.
Yeah, it's like an A&R thing, and you have to pay to be a member, and then they have all these, prompts. We're looking for this, for like a library, sync library, or placement, or sometimes like a label. And I submitted to something, and they decided this library called Figure and Groove took it, and then they got it on the show, and I got paid not like a ton of money, but a little bit of money, which was really nice. And then when I was at Berklee, I took a music supervision class taught by Brad Hatfield, who is phenomenal, and it was a really, really fun class, and he was great. And then it's really amazing how things come full circle. Like, this industry really is based on being a professional, nice person, like connections wise, or like being respectable, like working hard. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely reputation. Yeah, I mean, like networking. Yeah. That's a huge part of any music career. It's like being a likable person, being fun to be around.
Yeah,
reliability.
Reputation matters. I was in his class, graduated, and then last year I wrote a song about some of the hard stuff that was happening in America last summer that has continued. I wrote this song on like July 6th, having to do with the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and also I was just really punched in the gut by the shooting that happened in Chicago on July 4th last year.
Yeah, I actually had a friend at that parade.
Yeah, my friend's parents were there.
Yep.
And it's just horrifying. And I wrote this song, and I put it together, and I posted like a little video on Facebook, and not many people saw it. And I also know I was asking for maybe some tough conversations, but I actually didn't get any pushback, which was incredible. But a different old teacher from mine from Berklee, Stephen Kirby, who I had for multiple classes, who's lovely, he saw that song and was like, I think that would be good for sync, and let me connect you to someone.
Cool.
And it's so funny, he connected me back to my own teacher. And I did nothing with that song, but I had a meeting with Brad, and I sent him some songs that he thought could work. And so he, on his like library type thing, I'm forgetting words, he has my song Wander and Half Moon Smile. And he is one of the main composers and music supervisors for the soap opera The Young and the Restless, and my song Wander has been on there twice.
Cool.
Which was amazing. Sorry, that was like a lot more detail than probably needed to be put
No,
in there.
this is totally great. I think people want to know, how the hell do these things even happen? Like, how do I get my song? And like, sometimes it's you're like cold emailing with publishing houses and like hoping that somebody responds to your emails. And sometimes, like in your case, you post something on social media and somebody goes, "Hey, I think this would be great in sync. Let me connect you to somebody," and it kind of happens a bit more organically. And I think that's really cool that that's how it happened. Are you seeking out more opportunities like that? Are you trying to build a sync library?
I would love that. Now that I'm slightly less intensely busy, I would love to focus more on that. It's a great way to make money. And also, like, how amazing is that? Like, to hear your song in like a show or a movie. Like, I'm crying watching the show. Also, it happened for the first time while I had COVID, so I'm like sitting there by myself. I go 2.5 years without getting it in the US, and I get it. Because I'm just like, this is amazing. I'm so grateful. I would love to do more of that. I think it's an incredible opportunity.
And in terms of the difference between what you get paid for, let's even say 500,000 streams on Spotify, which is for most artists
nothing.
Almost unthinkable. I mean, like, even to have that much is unthinkable, and also it's nothing. I mean, it's not nothing. It's like, you know, if you're getting
no money.
Yeah, if you're getting
money.
0.006 cents, it's like, yeah, $500,000 or 500,000 plays is probably like $3,500. So it's not completely nothing. If you're getting 0.0334 cents per play or something, then yeah, 0.00.
Oh, it's like an amazing accomplishment. Like, I feel grateful when I see it go past like the 1,000 mark. Like, I'm really happy about it.
Totally.
It's just the lack of us getting paid.
Totally. And that's how I feel. And like, just the difference between that and something like 500,000 plays, which seems insurmountable for a lot of people, and then like you get 14 seconds of your song used on a TV show and you get $7,500 or something. It's like it's such a huge difference in what you can actually make, which could actually blow up your song on streaming too, potentially, like the songs that were used in Stranger Things this last year, that Kate Bush song that just like
Running Up That Hill.
Yeah, re-exploded from the 80s or whatever, and became a number one. I mean, it's like streaming has changed the game in that way. It's like your song doesn't have to be new to be a new hit, you know, which is really fascinating to me. But yeah, like, to me, it's like seeking out sync opportunities feels like a no-brainer. Aside from the fact that we all have limited time and limited energy and limited resources, and when you're writing music and when you're grinding and when you're learning and when you're traveling, it's obviously difficult to do all those things at once. But yeah, the sync licensing has really been an interesting avenue for me to try and chase lately too.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I also love it because as a writer, I, as a kid, loved writing, and I still do it recently. When I'm stuck, I do something like this. I used to write songs about characters, about books and movies, and just anything I could get my hands on when I was a kid. I didn't do necessarily like a book quote or anything like that, but my first summer teaching at Interlochen, one of the challenges I gave to kids was write a song either from the perspective or about a superhero or supervillain that already exists, or one that you want to make up. And it was like a lot of complaining about our groups immediately because it's an assignment and kids, and then it was like one of the best things I did in the 2 years, and it was so fun and so cool. And I'm kind of like, you know, this could kind of be used like later on in life. So I love I think there's something amazing about connecting music to story.
Yeah. I really like that idea, and my entrepreneurship brain goes like, hey, that's an educational thing that could be scaled as well. It's like, do this workshop where students have to write about superheroes or childhood characters or whatever.
I'm actually right now, I might as well plug this. I'm trying to start teaching lessons in one-to-ones, and I can do it on Zoom. So I want to do it I can do it for anyone from anywhere. And I always say one-to-ones because anyone can write songs, and it's so hard to say, I'm teaching you how to write a song. Like, that's not really how that works, but that's something like I would love to do. I like to do it as, me. So I think it's fun for kids to do, or whoever to do as well.
Cool. Well, yeah, I mean, once I got a couple more questions, but I will definitely link your stuff in the show notes, so anybody that's listening and wants to reach out to Teghan can reach out, whatever, via Instagram, DMs, or whatever. How do you write a good song? Here is your platform to give all the secrets.
How do I solve world peace?
Yes.
You have to start with the question of what's a good song. Because it's a subjective answer.
Yep.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the Cha-Cha Slide is a good song?
Oh, boy. I mean, I'll say no, because that's not what I imagine as a song. That's not the kind of song that I would love to have written that song from a monetary standpoint. So there's the commercial side of my brain that's like, a song could be anything that's popular. And then there's the artist side of my brain that's like, the song should move me. It should move a listener. It should mean something. It should make people feel something. To me, that's what makes a good song. So if we come from that place, from a place of like, we're trying to make people feel something, and we're trying to connect with people on a deep level, then the Cha-Cha Slide, in my mind, doesn't count, right? That's like, doesn't meet the criteria. People have a great time with it, but it doesn't meet the criteria.
I also believe that, songs could make you feel something, but people do have a good time with it. And when I think Cha-Cha Slide, I think weddings, bar mitzvahs. Like, I do have a visual context in my mind. Or like, what about Baby Shark? Like, that song kind of makes me want to like punch someone in the face at this point.
Yep.
But kids love it.
Kids love it. Yeah. I just wrote a whole bunch of kids music, so
that's
definitely
super fun.
Yeah, it's like, who's your target? I mean, that's definitely something you think about, right? It's like, who are you trying to reach? Is that something you think about before you write a song, or are you just writing?
I'm just writing, usually. I don't really think about my target audience as much if it's just for me. And if I'm writing with someone else, it's more like, what would they want? Because I think that if you write something that you like, someone else will like it, especially with technology. As long as somebody can hear it, like, as long as people can hear it and they know about it, which is really, that's hard to do because promotion can be tough, and also the music industry is so oversaturated now. Somebody will like it, so I think it's better to have integrity, and someone else will respect that and want to listen to it. So I don't really think about that aspect as much, but that's the question, is what do you define as good music?
Right.
And Cha-Cha Slide, I think, is a good song, personally. But I think songs can have bad lyrics, and they can have bad melodies, and they can be boring. Like, it's... You can have bad parts of a song. I'm going to say that bad songs are offensive songs.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to define bad songs, or, in my personal opinion, atonal music. I don't know what you're doing. Or, like, you know what I mean, like, extreme...
Oh, yeah. And you know what, that's crazy, too, because, like, I was going to say, instrumental music can check all these boxes. It's not like instrumental music can't connect with people and can't make people feel something. Of course it can. And to that extent, this is a very like, everybody's music is cool, man. But, you know, it's like, that is an aspect of atonal music too. Is that like there are people that love that stuff. I know a whole group of people. You know, there's like a whole free jazz thing that's pretty wild. That is difficult to listen to for most people. And then, like, I'm teaching a history of jazz class right now, and we went through a module where like the students had to listen to a bunch of this free music and like understand the context in which it arose, which, you know, is late 1950s, early 1960s. The civil rights movement is about to happen. You know, Ornette Coleman has gone on the record and talked about how it was like breaking off the shackles, and you know, it was about freedom, and so there's that element of it that's really deep and powerful and important, but also there's like they're like straight up playing out of tune, and they're like not playing in time together, because that's part of what's cool about it. But it's difficult. It's like difficult for people that maybe aren't trained in the music to like it. And I imagine like with classical atonal music, it's the same thing. It's like if you're not trained in that stuff, maybe it's more difficult to enjoy. Whereas a classical piece like Brahms' Requiem is much more overtly beautiful and easier to connect with from somebody who maybe didn't go and study music. You know what I mean? We're tangenting now a little bit, but I think that the exercise of like what's a good song or how do you write a good song is a great exercise.
Yeah, there's definitely a function for atonal music, and I was just kind of joking.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't listen to it for fun, but I understand why it exists.
Yeah.
Like, and I think the idea of experimenting in that kind of way is actually very freeing and imaginative. So I understand why people could like it. It's back to subjectivity. I don't know if that's a real word. Back to being subjective. I don't love it.
Yeah.
But someone else does. So that doesn't mean it's bad. And I have certain genres that I just don't love. Or I don't love everything in that genre.
Yeah.
But I still, like I say, I've taught songwriting. I took songwriting classes. I'm still like in touch with multiple of my professors from McNally. Like I just want to say that I loved that school. I think it made me a better,
I was really bummed.
Yeah, it made me a better person, better musician. I think that all my teachers, including you, I felt that they were passionate about what they were teaching us, and that helped me be passionate. So thank you for that, and thank you to everyone who influenced me at that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But me and my old songwriting teacher, Gary Rue, we were actually on the phone like a few weeks ago.
I was just messaging with Gary. That's funny.
I love that man so much.
Yeah.
So much. And my lesson teacher, Jeff Harrington, produced my first album.
Cool.
I love him so much. I made these amazing connections there. And I actually knew him in high school. He came to visit Interlochen when I was there. The Arts Academy is where I graduated from. And that's where I first met him. And he actually basically was the person to convince me to come to McNally. And I think I had a short conversation with Scott Laguerre, who is life-changing in the 2 seconds you speak to him. He's so smart, it's freakish.
And so inspiring. Yeah.
So inspiring.
He was on for those people listening, Scott Laguerre was on the podcast like episode 4 or something like that, episode 5, really early on.
Oh my God, he's incredible. Yeah. Gary and I were talking about this and just like nerding out a few weeks ago because we were talking about burnout and everything, and form is a guideline, not a rule. In every songwriting class I've ever taken, you know, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, whatever, AABA, AAA, you know, you learn that and you go, this is what this is, this is what this is, this is what this is. Same with theory. This is, you know, what you're learning. And then there's classical where you have rules. But once you learn the rules, it's really fun to break them. As long as you can pull it off. Yeah.
And that's ultimately what it's all about.
Yeah.
Right? Is like finding the rules and then bending them. And that's essentially how you find your own uniqueness in form and in your approach to harmony. I have a question. You're writing a pop song, right? Are you starting with the chorus?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. That's, you know, I think when we were there, that was what was kind of drilled into what we should be doing.
Yeah. Because of the like short attention span of the internet, because people skip songs on Spotify, like feels like that's the reason, right? Like we gotta hit you with the most catchy part of the song right away, or people will skip the song.
Or wait, oh, you mean like starting the song with the chorus?
Starting the song, like not start writing the chorus first. Okay. So that's what you were saying, right? Writing the chorus first?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the song, I mean, maybe a broken down version of the chorus, maybe, you know what I mean? Like not the biggest version of the chorus, but like, yeah, like are you starting the beginning of the song with the chorus?
Honestly, I think that's a good idea. Sometimes it's just you want to leave them wanting more. So sometimes it's a little weird. Also, like chronologically with what you're gonna say, sometimes that's weird. But no, that's not. We didn't do a lot of that. The last song I did there, we did. I don't think we did that in any other song, and I have done that with my songs before, because I think it's a good idea, depending on when, like I said, what order you want to say things in, because that's kind of like, here's the overarching thing. Do you want to start with details, or do you want to start with the message of the song?
So you think of like the verse as something that sets up the content of the chorus?
Yeah, sometimes. Or, I mean, if we're going by guidelines, or half chorus in the beginning, some sort of like intro kind of thing. I've been kind of paying attention to trends lately, and I've seen some weird stuff, and I'm really excited about it. And I've kind of pitched this a few times in my sessions, and no one's gone for it, which I think it's a good idea. About Damn Time, Lizzo, and As It Was, Harry Styles, both of them, in the second verse, do this weird talk thing that's not like a verse, and you remember it. Like, in a minute, I'm gonna need a sentimental, like, that doesn't sound anything like the first verse. Just talking. Has nothing to do with anything. I mean, it does, lyrically, and that's awesome, and you don't even notice. And I think that's cool.
What is the Harry Styles song again?
As It Was. He like randomly talks. Da, 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 da. I mean, it's not talks. It's like talk, sing. I wouldn't necessarily call. He's more singing there, but it's random. Like, nothing to do with the first verse at all. Yeah. I hope I'm getting that right. I haven't been as into his like last album as I was the first one. Yeah. But it's still weird, like what he puts in there, and I love it. Like
I keep seeing his name, and I just haven't listened. It's like possible that I know some of his music, maybe just from osmosis, but I haven't like purposefully gone and listened to Harry Styles yet. And I do like pop music. You know, it's like I listen to what's his? He's got Perfect Pitch and Synesthesia, like you.
Is it Charlie Puth?
Charlie Puth. Yeah. Yeah. And to me, that's like super vanilla, super deliciously vanilla pop. You know what I mean? Which, like it's like I graduated high school in 2003, so it was like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears. I mean, that's like deliciously vanilla pop, you know. And so like that was on, especially NSYNC. Like I was a fan of NSYNC and listened to NSYNC a bunch. And then I of course started studying jazz, and it was like you're not allowed to listen to anything else. So I was like, okay, I don't listen to anything other than Louis Armstrong and Miles Davis and Clifford Brown. Lately, I've been like, I saw Charlie Puth on like Jimmy Fallon or something. And I was like, this dude's awesome. I got to check this out. So I started listening. And I do enjoy it, but yeah, not Harry Styles yet.
Yeah, I find it interesting how you felt like you couldn't listen to other things. I find that I have to, like now I have to, because I think that I learn a lot from other things. Yeah. Or production-wise, I start with stripped song in my head as a songwriter. I've never producing is hard for me. Like thinking about everything, because I get overwhelmed by options, and then I always end up going with less is more no matter what I do. Yeah. Recently, I love live instruments. That was actually one of the more of the struggles in this program, is a lot of people are doing a lot of like EDM or like not necessarily, but I'm one of the people who really wants to play guitar on something. You know what I mean? Like, or piano. And that doesn't always happen. It's a lot of plugins and loops.
Right.
And nothing against it. And like, oh my God, things sound so real.
That's pretty amazing. Yep.
Freaks me out. But I actually recently, for an assignment, I got on Logic, and I'm a Logic fan. Oh, nobody used Pro Tools there. Nobody. Which I thought was very strange, just to me, because most people I knew use Pro Tools. I don't believe that that's, you know, the best one. People get really heated about that, which I find weird.
Yes, they do.
Chill. Like,
Chill.
they're all so similar. They just have like slightly different like purposes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like Logic. I grew up using Logic. I think it's intuitive. I think it's prettier than Pro Tools, which I know sounds kind of stupid, but like when I'm looking, it's like more colorful, and I color code no matter what DAW I'm looking at. But I don't know. I just like it better. I think it's more intuitive.
Yeah, it's better with plugins and stuff too. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So what's coming up for you? What do you got going on? You said you've got a whole bunch of music that you've written. Are you thinking of releasing any of it?
I wrote 3 songs that I really, really loved while I was there for myself. I mainly did songs for other people or with other people, but 3 songs. Well, I wrote songs that I like for myself, but eventually I'd like to put out another album, which there should be a support group for people who release albums, because that's so stressful.
Yep.
I don't know when it's gonna happen, but at least one of the songs that I wrote this year, I'd like it to be on that, so I'm kind of saving it.
Cool.
But I wrote 2 songs, at least 2 to 3, that I want as singles. 2 of them I'm focusing on now. They're very different, and one of them I've done in a way that I've never done before. I've never released a song myself that I've co-written for me, ever. And that's one of them. We had like song a day kind of a assignment sometimes. We'd write like 3 to 4 songs a week.
Wow.
And sometimes we'd have a song due that night. And I was put in a group with 2 incredible women, which when it comes out I'll talk more about everybody, but I've never worked with a woman producer.
Yeah. And
I'm in the room with 2 writers, but they actually both produce, and working with women is just so spectacular.
Yeah. Nice.
It's just, I feel my main producer is a man and I love him, but it's really nice sometimes to it's like a different situation for me as a woman. But
yeah, I bet.
They co-wrote the song with me, and I love it, and we actually used my synesthesia. Are you a Pinterest person? I feel like most people I know are not.
I'm not. I know somebody who was one of the first 100 employees there. He's one of our investors with GigBoss, but I, like, in terms of using Pinterest, no, I haven't really.
Well, that's cool. That's a flex.
Flex!
We did have mentors come in and talk to us and do like classes and stuff, and one of our mentors, her name is Dagny. She's an incredible Norwegian pop artist, and she was just so fun. And one of the things that our main like challenge assignment before we wrote the song was to make a Pinterest board for the song, like colors, images, instruments, and also for our brand, like, you know, colors for that album or us, or like makeup, clothes, like what do we want to look like performing, like everything you can think of. And I loved it because I'm in, you know, image-based person when it comes to my art, and it was super fun. And I created something with all the colors I saw in my mind and these images, and I showed them to these producers and writers, and for once, I got interviewed about kind of what we were writing about, which was weird, during the tables. We talked for a really long time, and we created a song for me, and that's one of the songs. And then the other one I did by myself in my usual process. I had a guitar in hand, and I was just singing, and Yeah, I'm really, really stoked about those. I haven't released a song since Our Garden, so it's been like a year.
Yeah, wow. There's a couple things you said that I really like as like exercises for people that are creating their own projects. And one of them is just throwing everything up on a board. What do we want to look like? What do we want our color scheme to be? It's like, that's a really interesting approach to like creating a product, especially if you're going to be somebody who's like trying to blow up stages and really like play big shows. I really like that idea. And then the other thing you said that I thought was really cool, that's difficult, of course, is to have to write almost a song a day or 3, 4, 5 songs in a week. I think people get stuck writing. And so being forced to just be like, all right, there it was. Like, we wrote the song, it's over. Let's move on to the next one quick. It's a great exercise to help you get out of your own way and just get something out. And I felt like early on, when I was writing early on as a composer, that like I had to get into that mindset of, I just need to write this and get it out, because I know that it's actually not going to be the best thing. Maybe it will be. There's definitely a chance. But at that stage in my development as a writer, I knew like, I'm going to write this and it's going to make me better. And then the next thing I write will have elements of that, but it'll be better than the last thing. Right. And so that's the idea, is that you're like compounding experience and compounding these writing experiences into what may end up being a great song down the road. Or maybe something in there is something that hits. It's like, you never really know what's going to hit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like, yeah, cool exercise.
Yeah. Something I did there, and it's a pop thing, I guess. This has never been my process in a billion years. And now I did it for most of the time there. And it helped with the process of condensing things in for time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like reaction, like you have to get your mind going, which can be stressful. But like when I was a kid, I used to be able to write songs like that. Now it's not as much, but it can be a really good exercise. It can also be tough. But what we would do is create a loop or guitar, whatever kind of progression. And a lot of times, no bridges. I have written almost no bridges while I was there. I like bridges.
Yeah.
But it just out of my vocabulary. I don't know why. Which was partially, I think, to save time for our like assignments.
Sure.
But was kind of strange.
Well,
also,
a bridge oftentimes feels like this thing that is related, but it is significantly different in some way than the rest of the song. So it's different than coming up with a verse and a chorus, which a lot of times you can just use like a feel change to make the chorus feel different and use similar chord progression as the verse.
Yep.
Whereas with a bridge, it's like you really want it to be a departure, and that would obviously take more time, more work.
Yeah, that it's a break.
Yeah.
It's something different, so you don't get bored or whatever. Like that's why I like it. I think it can be weird and different. Always post choruses, no bridges. Sometimes bridges, but always a post. I
so
swear.
What's a post chorus is like an element of the chorus repeated or something like that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example here. There's this Charlie XCX song called Good Ones. And it's like, I always let the good ones go. And that's like her repetition at the end, and I would count that as like a post-chorus. So something catchy at the end that gets you back in your head, or like, I'm nerding out now, but Louis Capaldi, who I love so much, he's so funny.
Yep.
And he cracks me up. And then his music is like heartbreaking, which I really respect. He has a song, How I'm Feeling Now, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's like, I think, if I'm thinking of the right song, his pre-chorus becomes part of the post or part of the chorus.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool.
Is that the one about I just found him recently. I didn't know of his music, and I found him because people were like crying to one of his songs. There was like a try not to cry during this Louis Capaldi song. and they were like, it can't be that. And then people would be bawling after, And it was about like a guy who lost his dog or something like that.
I think that might have been it. Yeah.
It was a good song.
I can't watch that. He manipulated or repeated that, I think, in that song, and I thought that was super cool. I got off topic, but what we do is talk about what we want to write the song about, write down keywords, key phrases, and then get on the loop, get on whatever we're doing, and top line. So just sing melodies, whatever you can think of, loop it, and use words and phrases. And it's so important when you're doing that to use words and phrases and not just oohs or lahs or whatever. I've gotten admonished for that because sometimes it can be difficult. But like saying nonsense also works. Half the time I'm singing things that make absolutely no sense. But we did that all the time. And then you listen to all the loops and you pick what you like together and you write lyrics to those things. And if I'm by myself, that's not my choice process. I like instrument in hand, singing at the same time, everything at the same time, but it's very interesting. That's what we did a lot of there. And also, one of our mentors, he said if you're writing a chorus, or if you're writing a verse that starts on the 1, make sure your chorus doesn't. Try doing it on like 2 or like on the offbeat, whatever, and vice versa. Like if you're gonna do 2 sections next to each other, try starting them on a different beat. And I thought that was very interesting. And so I'm thinking about verses and choruses, I always at least try it, because sometimes it doesn't matter, or like doesn't work, whatever, but I always think about it now, no matter who I'm writing for, myself or whatever. I think it's an interesting way of making things interesting.
Yeah, I love that idea. I'm writing it down so I don't forget. I've been writing a ton of songs, like these children's songs. Of course, I wrote like 9 children's songs in 2 weeks, which was insane. And then some of them, like 3 or 4 of them, I think are really good. So I'm like, man, I'm going to record these and put them out, for fun.
Love that.
But it's like we did that just because somebody goes, we did this little children's music thing for fun, because now we've got kids, of course, and like my wife and I are both musicians, and so we just started making up songs around the house. And we thought like, oh, we could do a little kids music hang kind of thing, and we did that last year. And then this summer, somebody reached out and they said, you guys do kids music, right? Do you want to do a festival? And we were like, sure. So there was this little festival in town. We got paid a bunch of money and played duo, played this little set of. So I frantically was like, oh no, I need to write like 75 minutes of children's songs. Like we don't have 75 minutes of music. So I wrote a whole bunch. But yeah, so I kind of lived your a song a day in real life a little bit.
That's so fun. I would love to. I love musicals also. Like, I think that I'm not a huge country music listener, so I'm about to kind of like be a hypocrite. Well, I don't know. Like, country music and musicals, best songwriting there is. And I think kids music also, because you have to be so creative. You have to be catchy. Yeah. Like, and lyrics, like, I think it's so fun. When we were me and my sister, when we were kids, we grew up on VeggieTales. Oh, yeah. And like, it's pretty funny because I think that's a Christian animation.
Yes, I think it is.
I still remember those songs. Well, partially my sister, I'm a twin. I don't know if you know that,
I didn't know that.
I'm a twin. I'm 6 minutes younger. And she's actually named after her name's Rhiannon, after the Fleetwood Mac song. But she has autism and she's nonverbal and she's very smart. She uses this thing called a letterboard to communicate. Basically, it's like a cardboard rectangle, and she points to letters and numbers. Incredibly smart. She just can't respond back verbally. She understands everything you say. But sometimes she likes to listen to old kids' music that I'm not sure why. Maybe it's comforting. She'll have things on repeat to the point of, like, I want to smash the iPad.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I can't listen to things anymore. But she listens to VeggieTales, and I remember that, and that slaps. Like,
sure.
Honestly, some of those songs slap. And I wish I could write stuff like that. So kudos to you. That's super cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It was fun for sure. And we'll see. Maybe it'll come out someday.
That's how you blow up.
Yeah, it's like that would be the silly. When I started doing the podcast too, I thought like I enjoy this a lot. I'm good at it. I do enjoy having these conversations a lot. I've learned a lot throughout the process, but I did think like, man, if this blows up and not my music, I'm not going to be happy about it. Maybe I'll be happy about it, but it's like, come on, man. Like I could see this getting bigger and then me. Yeah. No, it's like my number one thing has always been like, I want to create, I want to make music, I want to whatever style, genre. It's like, I want to be making music. Yeah. So I'll link your stuff in the show notes. If anybody wants to reach out to Teghan, talking about doing some hangs, some songwriting hangs. So if you're looking for that kind of guidance, Teghan's there. And thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Welcome back to the States, and I'm glad you're like feeling better and up and about and everything.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I was so excited and honored when you messaged me. I think you are so cool, and I'm really honored to be here.
Well, thanks. Cool. Awesome. Looking forward to hearing what you got coming.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to my conversation with Teghan. If you haven't already, please follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm going to leave you with Teghan's entire song, Our Garden.
Love is just like a tree branch. Some folks are just scared of heights. Don't cut yourself down to meet them. Wait for one who cares enough to climb. We've been waiting in this garden, waiting for so long, and this world makes soft hearts harden. So promise me you'll stay strong. So